Retail workers, what's the best threat you've ever received at work? I was a manager of a clothing boutique in the mall. I got the gig through a friend who later quit, opening up his manager position for me. Anyways, it was cake. All I did was make the schedule and enter a code to approve returns. One day I'm walking the floor and this lady flags me down. "Son, does that young man have an earring in his ear?" "Yes, he does. I'd like to speak to the manager." "Well, you're in luck. How can I help you?" I just think that's very showy, if you catch my drift. I'm afraid I don't, Mom. If he's queer, he should just keep that to himself. And it's your job to make sure he doesn't come to work like that. I'm sorry it offends you. He isn't gay. He's not making a statement. Well, if you aren't going to do anything about it, I'll just everyone I know that there are working here. And she left and I barreled over with laughter. 6 months later, we went out of business. I guess she knew more people than I thought. I work at a retailer that sells popular body products. Fragrances come and go. That's just how it is. They can't keep them all forever. Well, sometimes people get so upset when I tell them their fragrance is no longer in a stores. However, most of them are online. A lady comes in today and demands a fragrance we don't have in stores. I very politely tell her we do not carry it in stores, but she can still find it online. She loses it. She starts screaming about how I am incompetent and how she should be able to buy it in store if it is online. Keep in mind she is yelling at me, like screaming over a freaking scent of lotion. I tell her most online only products are marked that way and I give her a customer service card. Because she is so irate and this company is obsessed with making customers happy, I tell her she can have 20% off her purchase. She screams at me and tells me if I don't give her money to cover shipping she's going to make me sorry. I tell her I can't just take money from the store. She says not from the store, you should give it to me. She wanted me to hand her money from my own freaking pocket to cover shipping. She actually said, "I don't think I'm being unreasonable." I basically just stared at her. She said she was coming back, and I might want to reconsider. TLDR. Customer demands I pay her shipping costs for an only available online product from my own pocket. Many years ago at Starbucks, a 45-ish businessman approaches, me, "Hey, how's it going?" Customer, "How's it going? This isn't a freaking McDonald's. Okay, you'll address me as sir and take my order like a freaking professional. Do you understand me?" Me, sarcastically, "Good day to you, sir, and welcome to the Starbucks Coffee Corporation, where it is our aim to." At this point the guy is behind the counter and completely in my face, ready to throw down. I'm laughing, and the manager grabs him and escorts him to the door. Unlike most expelled customers, he never showed up again. A few years back I was working in a Starbucks and told a customer to have a nice day while I handed him his coffee. He replied with, "Don't you freaking tell me what to do. I'll take my business elsewhere. I'm never shopping here again." They always come back. There's almost nowhere else to shop in town. This story happened to my friend, and there were no real threats, just hilarity. My buddy was at a KFC in Chicago and the lady before him, alone, ordered 2 buckets of chicken. The guy behind the counter asks, "Is this for here or to go?" And she suddenly screams, "You think I'ma sit here and eat all this chicken by myself?" And he screams back, "I don't know your life." Perfect response. Looking back, I could have avoided a lot of pointless arguments in my past if I had only known the phrase, "I don't know your life." I'm currently working at an art supplies store that isn't open until this Thursday. We've been in store since the 4th of February setting it up, and people always try to come inside, ignoring the 3 giant "coming soon" signs and the banner. Most people get to the automatic doors, realize they won't open, look around, and see the signs, then leave. Well, it was about 9:01 PM. We close at 9 regularly, and some butthole shows up and knocks on the door. I pry the doors open and tell him that we're closed. He says no, it'll only take a minute. Open a backup. I say no, sir, we're literally closed for the month. Butthole, what about all this crap on the shelves? Me, you mean the 1/3 of the store that's stocked? Yeah, we're in the process of opening this store. The sign says the 25th of February. Butthole, Give me the store phone number. I'm calling your manager. Me. The store isn't open. The phone doesn't work, but my manager is in the back. I can go get her. Butthole. No, boy, I'm dealing with you. Me. Well, we're closed. Butthole. Threatening voice. Just you wait. I'm coming back. Me. But that's what I've been trying to get you to do. Guy goes to his car and peels out and leaves. A few years ago, I worked as a cashier at a grocery store. This woman comes up to the register one day with a bottle of vitamins and demands that I give her a refund. In order for me to do that, she must have a receipt and I need a manager to clear it. So I ring up the manager, ask for a receipt, and she keeps telling me, I bought this yesterday. I forgot my receipt. Just give me my refund. I keep persisting, telling her I'll need a receipt, and by the time the manager gets up to my cash, she, the woman, is furious. All of a sudden she goes, these vitamins give you herpes. They give you herpes. All your products are poisonous. She storms down one aisle and tosses all sorts of products onto the floor. My manager had to restrain her until security was able to escort her out. These vitamins are made out of people. One day while working at an adult clothing store, I noticed a 2-year-old walking around with one of the hooks we use to get shirts for high shelves. I walked up to the little boy, his mother was right behind him, and said I was sorry but I had to take it away because I didn't want him to hurt himself. His mother, ignoring me, told him that if he hurt himself the store would be liable and they would get lots of money. I was so shocked, I just walked away. Please leave the premises, as you constitute too much risk to allow you to remain in the store. I had a lady call in and she just started screaming obscenities at an associate, telling us we're all kinds of horrible people, and she's going to sue us, because she was in the store yesterday, and bought a pack of highlighters. Then, apparently she fell asleep for only 10 minutes and her dog ate them, and now he's dying. Yup, she was going to sue the manager, because, according to her, her dog was half brain dead now, and all it does is run in circles. The associate finally was able to transfer her to her manager, but she just continued yelling obscenities and threatening to sue. So, of course, the manager countered with, first of all, that's really nothing you can sue us for, considering we didn't make the product, nor did we feed it to your dog. And secondly, if your dog is sick and or dying, the first thing you need to do is get him to a vet. The lady, of course, thought nothing of this and threatened to hire a lawyer. But first, she was going to bring the dog into the store so we could see what we had done to him, and so that we could feel the guilt of our sin. And if he died first, she actually threatened to throw the dead dog at our manager. I was so disappointed when she never showed up. As much as I love dogs, I can't help but crack up at the image of a crazy lady throwing a dead dog at a store manager. I worked at a used clothing store where people would come in to sell their clothes to us, but we obviously were very picky about what we took. This created many angry customers. I have 2 favorites. The woman that crap in our dressing room to spite us is one. Another woman tried on all the new bathing suits with her period so they all had blood stains. Quite a bit of effort just for us not taking some of their stained clothes. We also never sold bathing suits again. So, the threat worked. Whoa. I work at a smoke shop in a college town. All in all, the customers are pretty cool, get a few tweakers every now and then looking for crack pipes and such. So in our shop you are not allowed to refer to a bong as a bong. It must be called a water pipe because bong implies drug use. And yes, I know what people are doing with them. It's just the hoop we have to jump through. I operate on a 3-strike policy. If I warn you 3 times I will ask you to leave. I had a guy that just wouldn't stop saying bong and kept making really blatant drug references and asking me where he could score. When I finally had enough and asked him to leave, he started backpedaling, saying that he would behave. I told him again he needed to leave as I could not sell him anything because he made it abundantly clear that he was going to use it for pot. His attitude changed as he pulled out a police badge. The guy wrote me and the shop a ticket for selling paraphernalia, which was like $2,000. Fortunately we have cameras with audio that caught the whole thing on tape. The charges got dropped and the guy was supposedly suspended. Now the cops around town love our shop and actually go out of their way to make sure everything is cool after us. I worked in a clothing store several years back and some guy was screaming at the top of his lungs as well as throwing insults at me and my shift supervisor. That is, calling me an incompetent frick and her a fat ugly bee, all in front of other customers because we couldn't redeem a coupon. We asked him to leave and he threatened to call mall security on us, at which point I turned around, phone in hand and said, "Don't worry, I've already taken care of that." He and his haggard excuse for a wife left immediately. A disgruntled timeshare owner faxed a death threat to my office in Sedona, Arizona, complete with the date and time he planned to come to the office with his various firearms to discuss his complaints. To his credit, he was a man of his word and showed up promptly at the specified time. He received a sentence of 6 to 18 months. Well, you're in the business of selling timeshares, so you probably deserve it. Years ago, when I worked at a department store, I had a lady try to return something that was not from our store. It was the store brand from a different department store. It wasn't a very heated exchange, although I had to call a manager to repeat what I had said. We couldn't take it back. It was from XXX store. The lady left, and I thought it was over, until I went to lunch, no longer wearing my name tag. Just regular clothes. I'm not sure if she was waiting for me in the mall, or if she had just happened to see me while still shopping, but to me it doesn't matter. She approached me and proceeded to cuss me out up and down, call me every name in the book, and then shove me for not taking back an item of clothing. Mall security escorted her out. Whilst delivering a pizza that was paid for by credit card over the phone, me, "Please sign this copy of the receipt." Lady, "It freaking says tip here?" Me, "Yes ma'am. If you wish you can include a tip on the card you used to purchase the pizza." Lady, "You don't deserve no freaking tip, you piece of crap n." I'm white. I dropped her pizza into a mud puddle next to her porch and walked away. Not because I got stiffed. That happens all the time. B didn't have to be so rude though. She can no longer order from our store. Epilogue, she ate it anyway. I'll gut you like a fish. From a rage addict while I was working at a Taco Bell while I was 16. He was seriously fricked up and thought I had sold him something that made his sister overdose. I walked into the back office and called the cops. It was freaking scary. Must have been all the silicates and the meat and all. I'm going to come down to that call center and rip your face off. To which I replied, "Good luck, sir," and then hung up, as we could if we got threatened. He lived a few states away. I was amused. A customer once filed a public complaint with the BBB demanding that we pay for a year of his college, along with unspecified additional damages, due to delays in a non-warranty repair that allegedly led to him failing his exams, leading to him having to pay for an additional year of school, leading to stress in his marriage and familial relationships. I believe he even tossed in the threat of actual, genuine legal action. Also good is about 6 different occasions where I've had people threaten to report the store I was working at, several stores, for false advertising. You see, there were sale tags up. Sale tags that list the expiration date of the sale. Rest assured, I wasn't calling my manager over that crap. Not going to lie, though, I have a standard response for whenever I get threats. See, people tend to attempt legal threats over warranty conditions. Frequently, I fix computers. There can be delays in repairs, up to 6-8 weeks, specified in the warranty. Physical damage and software issues, not covered, specified in the warranty. People still regularly threaten to sue over all 3. When they do, I tell them in that case, I'm no longer able to help you as I'm not authorized to deal with legal matters for the company. Please send a letter to our legal department, and we can send your computer home with you or keep it here until legal tells us what to do. Remarkable how quickly these lawsuits evaporate. I worked at this terrible call center before the awesome job I have now. They sold everything from roller hose, perfect pancake, tourist pamphlets, and Girls Gone Wild. Basically any infomercials product. They were contracted by hundreds of companies, and when the call came in the number dialed would bring up whatever product they were calling for on the computer. I cannot count the number of times people would jack off and ask me if I was the one in the pink top they were watching on the GGW commercial. I had a few people call just to say I'm gonna kill you. By this time I was completely indifferent and had only apathy for them. Of the several weird things that happened while there, the one I won't forget was this guy that would call and ask about a spray that you were supposed to squirt into your mouth and it would help prevent snoring. Never snore. At the time, the product was no longer available for sale through my call center, but if someone called about it, we could offer some very limited information. To buy it, the guy had to call a different 800 number. The first time I spoke to this guy, he asked questions about the product and how it worked. Seemed totally normal confused customer. A few weeks later, I got a call about the same product. This was weird because we almost never got calls for old products, let alone the same product more than once, especially since the commercials weren't playing anymore. After answering some slightly odd questions about the application of the spray in the mouth, the call ended and I wondered, is it the same guy from before? The third time he called a few weeks later, he finally revealed enough for me to get what he was going for. This time he told me how his girlfriend snores and he wanted to use the spray to help when they sleep. He said he was worried though, since it was sprayed in the mouth that she would, you know, in the back of her mouth. From there on he kept trying to get me to say gag, and he was getting off on the word. That's when the previous calls clicked in my mind and I understood that his whole point to calling before was just to get a girl to talk about gagging. It was really odd that I happened to get him 3 times, considering how many reps there were taking calls. Made me wonder how many times he called. I didn't have any of this guy's fave ciggies, so he gets pee off and threatens to jump the counter and bash me. I just said don't worry about jumping, I'll just open the door and let you in. Let's see what you've got. He declined. That's pretty bad but haha. I worked at a nice rink in a pretty affluent area up until a year or 2 ago. Friday and Saturday nights the rink had free skate nights that mostly drew the middle school crowd, as there was a public middle school next door. These are 11-14-year-olds with the guys dressed gangster and the girls in bicycle shorts, push-ups and tank tops in a nice rink, referred to the rest of the post as prostitutes. The rink has a city police officer come to run security on the place because these kids sneak off into first aid rooms to do whatever. Some of the things I've dealt with. I was working with a very passive co-worker one night in the concession stand. He was leaning on the counter on his elbows when 2 kids, 13-14, walk up, pull their wallets out, and proceed to see who has a bigger wad of cash on them. Both had $60+ on them. Our food isn't cheap. $3-ish for fries, $2-ish for hot chocolate, but not a $60 night. One of them emerges victorious from the money count and presses the wad of cash in my co-worker's face. You like how that smells? Kid got thrown out later that night for making an butt of himself regardless. Management knew who he was. Self-entitled prats reaching over the counter and stealing stuff on display. Candy, whipped cream dispensers, dipping sauce cups, anything they could reach. I've had prostitutes come to the counter and try and push their A cups up to get free crap. Stealing whipped cream dispensers. What? You should really affix those large, heavy machines to the floor to prevent children from absconding with them. I used to work at an upscale boutique a few years ago. Note, I will become a crack dealer before ever working in retail ever again, and a customer tried to return a $1,200 dress that had clearly been worn. Makeup stains, flecks of wine and significant remnants. She demanded a refund because the tag was still intact. I pointed out the stains and explained that because she clearly wore the dress we couldn't take it back. But then she says, what if I get it dry cleaned? I shake my head no. Her eye twitches, her face goes red and she begins screaming that she is going to sue my stupid butt off and that her husband will close the store down. The owner of the boutique, a Polish woman who takes crap from no one, comes out of the back, glares at the woman and hisses at her peasant. The woman grits her teeth and stomps out of the store. Slow claps. That has got to be the best retort I have heard yet. I refused service to someone for not having it. He threatened to rip my mustache off of my face. I laughed and winced at the same time. Still makes me wince to this day. The thing is, they don't come off all at once like a band-aid. You have to knock the guy down and then you end up plucking his face like a chicken. By the time you're done, everybody involved just feels stupid. I worked at a Burger King when I was 16 where we got crazy amounts of buses. Could tell 100 stories, but only got threatened once though. We had this special for Lent where you could get 2 fish sandwiches for $3. But you had to get the 2. If you got 1, or 1 and a meal, it was like $2.20 or something for the odd sandwich. Anyways, this fattest on a Greyhound bus came in and was bitching about everything. She wanted mustard and tartar sauce on her sandwiches. Tried it later, bletched, and she told me like a bazillion times to make sure it got it right because none of you lazy FCKS ever gets them right. Anyways, she orders 3 of these mustard and tartar sauce monstrosities, and I told her that the odd one would be like $2.20. But she told me she didn't care. So obviously after getting her order, she comes up and starts screaming that I cheated her. I told her I had not and offered to ask the store manager, who was my cousin 21 years older than me, don't ask, to deal with the problem. Anyways, she told me, literally, that the customer is always right and if I didn't give her money back, she'd jump over the counter and FCK me up. Being 16, I told her to go ahead and try it. So she actually did, only she was so fat she couldn't really jump, and so she threw her empty water bottle at me and almost missed, even though she was like 5 feet away. Then she sort of rolled over the counter and put up her dukes. At this point, I was laughing my butt off because it was so awesome with her lard rippling down from her fattest arms. My cousin told someone else to call the cops, told me to take a break in the back and get some food if I wanted. Then told Lardface exactly what would happen if I sued her for assault, since I was a minor, and my cousin could prove that I did nothing actionable. Even better, everyone on the bus had to wait for the cops to get there because the bus driver had to stay to report to the cops what had gone down. It took about an hour for Greyhound to get another bus there to pick up the other passengers, so needless to say, there were plenty of volunteers to tell the cops about Lardface's stupidity. TLDR. Told Fattest that she'd have to pay extra for buying an odd number of sandwiches, got called a liar, assaulted, and almost got to beat up said Fattest and get away with it. Self-defense and minor FTW. A woman was trying to return Christmas gifts without a receipt, and we couldn't give her cash, just a gift card or an exchange. She said that wasn't acceptable because she didn't like our clothes and never shopped there. I knew our DM would say no to a cash override because of all the thefts in the area at that time. I watched him say no to an identical situation earlier that day, so I apologized but said that was all I could do for her. So she stamped her foot saying, "I'll never shop here again." And everyone at the service desk laughed while I pointed out you never have, so I guess that's okay. She turned an odd shade of purple and left. Pooped on that bee. I worked at a computer repair desk at my university. We had a guy come in who had some hardware issue which gets escalated to our full-time hardware guys. There was some mix-up with his warranty claim and the part was a week or 2 late. We apologize and offer him a discount for his trouble. Then he had some software issue so we sat down with him and took a look at it. I can't remember the details of what we messed up, but he threatened to come back with his MP5 and shoot us all and then blow up the building. So we blocked the door and called the police. I'm a restaurant manager, and one woman who wasn't satisfied with her Caesar salad once threatened to call her congressman. I believe she said this is why we have elected officials. I had to excuse myself for fear of laughing directly at her. I worked at a sandwich shop and this guy ordered 2 sandwiches on white bread. I misheard him and thought he said wheat. He wasn't facing the counter when he stated his order, and started to put cheese on them, but clarified before putting them in the oven and immediately corrected the mistake. Took about 15 seconds. He got so enraged over this minor mistake he held his hand up like he was about to backhand me and said, "You people always get this wrong. I can't believe this. Can I slap you?" Lady came to the gas station I work at and gets a fill up. I tell her how much it is, and she holds out a debit card. "Oh, you'll have to come in for that." "No I don't. You have the portable machine." "Oh, sorry, we haven't had that for ages. You have to come in. I was here just the other day, and used it." "No you didn't. We haven't had it since July." "Well, I'm never coming here again." "Oh number. Not lady I've never seen before." "Not you. Please no." I worked at Gamacrazy at the time. It was near Christmas and a woman came in and bought a Guitar Hero 3 bundle. Fast forward 3 days. Man and woman come in to return the bundle because he didn't want it. He was very thugged out. Says, "Yo man, I am low on dough right now. When is this refund gonna credit back in my account? Can I get cash?" I informed him that I could not give him cash as he paid with his card. I said that it could be anywhere from 1-3 business days for it to credit back to his account, but to make sure he checks the balance before spending. He complained about needing gas, but there was nothing I could do. Next day, less than a week before Christmas, huge line waiting to buy gifts. Phone rings. It's him, and he's angry. "Man, I thought you said I'd get my money back." "I'm sorry sir." "Who is this?" "B, I came up there yesterday to refund Guitar Hero, and you said it'd get my money back." "You will get your money back sir. It will take anywhere from 1-3 days. You said I'd get it immediately. I bought gas after I left and now my account is all fricked up. Cause of you." "Sir, I never said that you would get it immediately. You're really starting to piss me off. I oughta come up there and beat your butt." By this time, everyone in line had noticed that this guy was full on yelling at me over the phone. "You could, but you just refunded something here. Your name and address are on file." "Sir, well then you better pay me back yourself." "I can't do that sir. I told you that you should check your balance before using your card. It isn't my fault you overdrafted. I'm gonna be up there to whoop your butt in a minute boy, unless you have my money. If you come up here, I'm going to call the police." He hangs up. Everyone in line is really nice. Tells me not to worry about it. He never showed up. At some point in the conversation I told him that if he didn't stop yelling I would hang up, but he wouldn't stop. Crazy people. "If you come up here, I'm going to call the police." At this point in the story, he had already committed assault and you had witnesses. Maybe I'm more vindictive, but I would have called the police at this point just in case he makes good on his promise in the future. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.